as Jon Snow was saying, winter is coming, and he kept saying winter is coming, and people didn't believe him. I'm saying the property boom is coming, and it's going to come.
So the big question is this: how are investors like us who weren't born with a silver spoon successfully investing in property to create a passive income and still have a lifestyle now? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. I'm George Markoski, and welcome to the Positive Property Show. Our mission is to empower 10,000 people to create financial freedom through property using the Markoski method. Join us.
Hey there, everyone. George Markoski and Charmaine Adams from Positive Property. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
We've got some interesting things happening now. As I normally start, I like to start the news. And the news is Australian house prices grew at the fastest rate last month since 2003.
And that is extremely exciting.
Yes, so basically, this is called the Rebound Effect. You know, have you heard about, when someone breaks up with their partner?
And they go through the rebounds?
Yes. Yes. It's true, isn't it?
That is a job without the mess.
Yes, so one of those things happens is there's this thing called a rebound effect. Happens in relationships. When you get a rubber band and stretch it back, it rebounds, right? So rebounds happen all over the place. And with the property market in general, stock market, in most financial markets, when there's a dip, there's a rebound that's even bigger and stronger. Mm-hmm. So if you look at over the last 1,000 years in property, because we got records from about 1,000 years ago in England property.
Wow.
Right back as they go. If you look at that, there's a cycle of rebound, down, rebound, down, rebound, down, rebound. And basically what's happening is the property market never, ever gets back to the level it was.
Right, okay.
Right? So there's a lot of naysayers out there and people out there. There's a lot of Negasauruses out there, right? And what they do is they're like, oh no, property's going to drop and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It does drop. It does over and over and over again. But it doesn't concern me if you're here long enough. Because, back in 1970, my parents bought a house for $2,000.
So cheap, isn't it?
Right? And that sounds cheap, but at the time it was expensive. Yeah. Right? And so whatever price you find a property for now, if it's in the top 100, it's a good property. It's cheap. And that's the whole point. So the fact of it is, there's a massive rebound going on. I predicted it. I told people it was going to happen. So if we go back in time a little bit and we go back to 2008, during the GFC. The GFC happened, and because I'd been in property for a while anyway, I was telling people, yes, there's going to be a correction. But after GFC finishes, there's going to be a rebound. Mm-hmm. Everyone said, nah, it's a bubble, it can never go up again. And lots of people lost money during the GFC because they sold, because they panicked, and they didn't listen to me. Now, the people that listen to me, they're all property millionaires now.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Right? Property millionaires, because we had a massive boom and then went through the roof back in 2010, 11, and 12, right? So if you had a time machine, you go back to listen to me back then, you'd be a millionaire now.
Can I get a time machine, George?
No, but I've got something almost as good.
Okay, tell us.
Okay. The GFC and the pandemic were similar circumstances where there was a big financial crisis and shit went down, people shit themselves, and the property market had a bit of a challenge, right? Yeah. So the fact of it is, if you didn't listen to me back then, you've got a hall pass, you can listen to me now.
Right? That green pass.
Yep. Because if you missed the last property boom, it's not your fault. But if you're listening to me, watching me now, if you missed the next property boom, guess what?
Radical responsibility, it is your fault.
That's right, exactly. So that's why it's so important that you pay attention and educate yourself and take advantage of this boom. Probably, I'd say this is going to be the biggest boom in our history.
Wow.
Right? And that's a big statement, but I'm prepared to back it up with statistics and reasons why it's going to happen. And the funny thing is, this big boom, there's going to be a bigger one afterwards.
Looking forward to that one.
Well, basically what happens is, as the world becomes more prosperous, there's more money. Mm-hmm. There's some assets that just have to keep going up, and they're the ones that are limited. So, for example, Bitcoin, they've only got a certain amount of Bitcoin available. Because they've only got a certain amount of Bitcoin available, it's gone up quite a bit, if you've heard about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The challenge is they can always create a new coin called Litecoin or something else coin, and just that keeps competing. So it's not unique, right? But with property, until we move to Mars or move to the moon, we've got no more land. And because that's going to be very scarce. And even when we move to Mars and the moon, the land in the world is going to be scarce because you can't produce any more of it. You can't go, like Bitcoin 2.0, you can't go Earth 2.0. It just doesn't exist, right? And because that's the reason it's happening, right? So that's the thing. So we've had the biggest rise in properties last month in 18 years.
Wow.
So that's a big sign, if anything is.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why we got to really, what I suggest to people out there that are listening, don't be an ostrich, don't be an emu and keep your head in the sand. Get your head out of the sand, get educated, find someone that knows what they're doing and do it. You know what I mean? And learn. And the thing is, I've got an interesting email today and I'm going to read it out actually, without saying who it is and all that sort of stuff, right? Right. So let me read this. So there's someone that's looking at our program, right? So he's saying, I've considered your program, but I'm not sure if the program is for me and my partner, compared to maybe seeking independent financial advisor, right? Or to seek a managed fund to invest into. It's hard to compare apples to apples with some investments. And the end decision comes down to comfort level in the product, process level, involvement in different investments, blah, blah, blah. Right? Interesting question. Well, look, I'm going to answer that question live. And, that person that wrote the email, Belinda can send them here to have a listen to it. I'll be able to answer it for them. Right?
It's a great question, though. So thank you.
Great question. Thank you so much. And the thing is, the most important thing you can do before investing in a financial advisor or a coach or anything like that is, one, educate yourself. Arm yourself with the knowledge so you know what you're doing, right? Two, do your due diligence. Check this person out. Like, for example, if you're checking out George Markoski, go to Google and go Google George Markoski. Find out about him, right? Does this person talk their walk? Do they walk their walk? Have they done what they're saying? See, the thing is, there's so many people out there talking about property, but they don't even have any property. They haven't invested in property. You know what I mean?
Not walking the talk.
That's right. And the thing is, I come from a family that struggled to make ends meet. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. So I knew from a young age it was up to me. I really did. And so because of that, I knew that property was the only option because 90% of people make their money out of property. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Honestly, and I'm happy to admit it because I think it's important to be authentic and transparent. I'm not one of these people that go, oh, yeah, I did property and after 2 years became a multimillionaire and man, I'm amazing. No, it took me years and years and years to get this right. Because Malcolm Gladwell says it takes 10,000 of purposeful study and education and working in a field to become an expert, right? Now, not 10,000 hours willy-nilly, 10,000 hours of doing something and learning from mistakes and getting better, right? Because the key is, and one of our values is progress over perfection.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect. It's about progressing and learning. And I've learned from my mistakes. I've done 20,000 hours, not 10,000, because I was obsessed. Because, if you don't get obsessed, you can end up being average. And I really believe that everyone has got to find something to be obsessed by. Whatever your calling is, if you're a chiropractor, get obsessed by being a chiropractor. I'm in property, I'm obsessed by property. If you're a fitness instructor, fitness, whatever. Then in the other areas of your life, hire someone that's obsessed. So my fitness instructor, my PT, he's obsessed with fitness and stuff like that. He's excellent. He knows a lot more than I do because he's done hours and hours and hours. So I get him to do the thinking for me. I don't try to do it for him.
And that's why you get the results from your personal trainer.
That's right. That's why I get the results, right? Exactly. And unfortunately, I pulled my neck out last week. And it's been painful, so I haven't been able to train for over a week now. So I reckon I need one more week off before I can train again. I can't wait to get back to the gym. I was making so much progress. But that's what happens sometimes. You're just going to go backwards. So the thing is, right, when I first started investing, I made all the normal mistakes. I got to the point where I wasn't getting what I wanted. I was working 7 days a week. I was negative gearing. I didn't have a strategy to create freedom. And I got to this point where I had to either quit property and look at something else or really work property out.
Well, I think you know which decision you made, George, and I'm so grateful that you did.
Well, this is the deal, though. See, if you quit, you're guaranteed to lose, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right? And no one became successful from quitting.
No, not at all.
However, most people become successful from making mistakes and learning from them. See, those two things together. See, you can't become successful by not making mistakes because you can't get things perfect the first time.
No.
So what needs to happen is you need to make the mistakes and learn from the mistakes, but even better, learn from someone else's mistakes so you don't have to make them.
I like that one, George. That's like the fast track.
Yeah, so what I did is I made the mistakes, learned from them. Then I went looking for people because, what I did is first thing I did is decide to really work out this property thing. And second thing I did is I decided to ignore everyone else out there giving property advice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I did it for a reason. The reason I wanted to ignore everyone else giving property advice is because they were super hypey and most of them didn't have the runs on the board. Right. And I wanted to find property people that actually made money at a property and were living the lifestyle I wanted to live.
Yeah, real life results.
That's right. And I ended up flying to Florida to meet this guy from Melbourne who was retired on property.
Wow.
And I actually emailed him and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to catch up for a coffee? Little did he know I was stalking him and I was going down to meet him. Right. So we catch up for a coffee and I'm like, wow, I've invested everything. I really got to learn from this guy. And we caught up. And luckily we caught up for martinis. He loves apple martinis. So I thought, you like apple martinis? I love apple martinis. Done. Right? They were pretty sweet for my liking, but we just drank apple teenies all night. And I didn't have a lot of money because Australian dollar was it was $100 Australian for $50 American. So with the exchange rate and my flights and everything, it cost a lot of money. So every time I bought something, it was like, oh my God, how much money have I got left in my wallet? So anyway, he's bungled his apple teenies for us. And then in the end, I'm like, I better shout. So I pull out a $100 note, give it to the waitress, go, hey, can you get us 2 apple teenies, keep the change? She's like, sorry, that'll be more.
Like, George?
Another $20. So that was like 120 US. What's that? That's like at the $250 Australian for 2 drinks.
Wow.
Right? So this is one of the coolest bars in the whole of Miami, overlooking the water. Amazing. Beautiful. But I'm thinking, man, this guy's got a lifestyle because he's just throwing money down. We went to this Japanese restaurant. They had little sea urchins and you had like little tiny bit, 4 little plates worth of food. We paid a fortune and I was starving afterwards, right? And I'm like, so we're having a drink. I couldn't wait to finish. I'd go to the hotel and just raid the bar and just eat more food.
Well, look, I'm sure it was the best $250 you spent because of the advice and the knowledge that you got.
I spent more than that, but we caught up every night, drank and talked property.
Mm-hmm.
Talked a bit about women because he loves the Cuban women, but he also talked about property. And the guy was a genius and he showed me how he did it. He was happy to share with me once we built the report, showed me how he did it. And I said, this is great. I'm coming back to Australia. Came back to Australia and I implemented straight away. I thought, that's it. I'm doing this, right? Because I thought, you know what? If he can make $150,000 without getting out of bed, passive income, I can make 50, right? Surely.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought I'll go for a shot because even if I make 50, I'll be happy. But guess what? I started doing it within less than 5 years. I had I went from zero to a multi-million-dollar property portfolio, 180 grand a year, and didn't have to lift a finger afterwards. It was great.
It's fantastic.
So what happened was I retired on $180,000 after learning this whole system, and it was great. So the point is, it's not about not making mistakes, but what it is about is actually learning through mistakes and then following through and going from there. And that's the one thing I discovered. So, now we've got a bit of time still to answer any questions because I've got to be going in 10 minutes myself because I've got to help Charmaine run this show. But if anyone online's got any questions, let me know, because I'd like to talk to you and answer any questions. But I want to go back to talking about mentors and talking about how to get a mentor. Because, in this letter, they're talking about getting a financial advisor. Now, look, be very, very careful when you get a financial advisor, right? Because if you're going to get a financial advisor or someone to teach you how to do something, make sure they've got the runs on the board, make sure that they're getting the results that you want. The last thing you want to do is go into an office where there's a financial advisor working full time, teaching you how to make money, but he hasn't made money because he's working in an office all day, right? That doesn't make sense. I'd rather get a financial advisor that's been traveling around, that has a good time, right? Someone that's got freedom, if that's what you're looking for. But if you want to learn from a financial advisor that's still working and still trying to make money, then go to one of those, right? But seriously, I really, really value people that have got real life results, because that's the only thing that matters to me. So this is the thing that matters to me. They've got real life results for themselves, but then they got real life results for their members and their clients. And I want proof of that, right? That's what I want. And part of the reason I started the 14-day challenge, and look, I've got 1 day left. It closes. 14-day challenge, the entry for the 14-day challenge closes tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So if anyone wants to do the 14-day challenge, please type in challenge. What I've done is I've created the 14-day challenge. And what it does basically, it shows you what the wealthy investors do that the unsuccessful investors don't know what to do. And if you do this, it's going to show you how to create financial freedom. I show you everything that we know about property in this 14-day challenge. But what I think you do is, the good part about the challenge is you can go in and check out what we do, how we do it, and you've got a whole 14 days to check it out and test it out. And if you don't think it's worth the money, you get your money back. So you get a free run and a free trial of our whole program. And I think everyone should be offering you that. So if you want a financial advisor, if you want to pick one, ask them for a free trial. Ask them to check out what they do, and ask them if they're going to give their money back. If you can check out all the information, how they do things, and you don't like it, you don't have to do it. That's what we do. And, I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is, because this is very, very important. Because after the 14-day challenge, you'll know if we're a good fit or not. And if we're a good fit, excellent. If we're not, doesn't matter. Hopefully I've taught you something, and you can use that in the future to make money and do what you need to do. That's the important thing. Because, as Jon Snow was saying, winter is coming, and he kept saying winter is coming, and people didn't believe him. I'm saying the property boom is coming, and it's going to come. And it's going to be the biggest one we've ever had. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be big. And the people that know the new rules of property and follow the rules, they're going to be making money. And if you don't know, you're not going to be making money. You're going to miss out. And that's the important part. See, the thing is, I'm not a big fan of complicated strategies that take hours of my time. I really like the quickest way from point A to point B, and that's exactly what you get in my program, because that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go now online and just have a look and see if there's any questions for tonight, because before we end, we're going to be ending in about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to have to join my other thing. Now, let's have a look here. Now, we had another question. A gentleman called Matthew, but he's not online, so I might have to talk to him next week and invite him on so I can actually answer his questions. So, guys, a lot of people send me personal messages, emails, questions about their property situation, ask me questions about how I can help them. The fact of it is, I can't help people personally unless you're paying me as your coach. Just put it out there. It's true. That's the fact. However, if you come on my live channel on a Wednesday night, if you go to Australian Property Chat and you ask me the question there, and I can add value for all the other people listening, then I'm happy to help you with your property questions and give you lots of value. But there's no value in me giving you help privately on an email or a chat or something like that, because my time is very valuable. The Platinum program, I get paid a lot of money, and why would I do it for free? I'm not going to do it for free. However, if I can help other people in a group, then I'm happy to do it. So if you've got questions, you need to really ask me in a public forum so I can answer your question and it gives everyone value. because it wouldn't be fair on everyone else if I was giving free advice to people that haven't paid me, but no advice to people that have paid me. So thank you everyone for joining me. Hope you have a great time. Now, guys, if you're watching me on Facebook or anywhere else or YouTube or something, make sure you go to Positive Property Show and join and sign up for my podcast. So that way, each week you get a new episode. You can be driving around or doing something and you get a bit of property education. If you're on my podcast or somewhere else, make sure you join Australian Property Chat and we can talk property there as well. Thank you so much. Hope you guys do well and look forward to seeing you next week because we're live every single week after week after week after week after week. I'm going to keep doing this till we get our goal, and our goal is to empower 10,000 people to create wealth through property using the Markoski method. So cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. I'm grateful for all our listeners around the world. If you found this podcast valuable, please share with someone that might find this useful, and please join our tribe of purpose-driven investors, increasing income and impact in our Facebook group, Positive Property. Please note, with a multi-million-dollar property portfolio and a passive income, I've become incredibly successful in investing in property. The fact of it is, however, many people may find investing in property challenging. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of hard work. However, becoming educated to make an informed decision and having the right advisors gives you the tools you need to succeed. The most important part of this formula, however, is to actually take action and apply that knowledge. It is important to understand the information I share is of a general nature only and is not taking into account your unique circumstances. If you're considering investing in any asset class, you need to seek the advice of an independent professional advisor who will be able to look at your specific situation. Be sure your advisor has actually achieved the kind of results you're seeking. Many won't have, so beware. We've taken great care putting those educational resources together. We'd be surprised if you didn't find any errors or omissions. If you do, our legal team says we have to say we're not responsible for those. In fact, as with all things, even your success, we're not responsible. That responsibility always has and always will come down to you and the actions you take. We're passionate about supporting you in that process and helping you increase your ability to create wealth, live the life you desire, and provide all the things you dream of for you and your family.